The Hitcher is a thriller released in 1986, directed by Robert Harmon.
Yes. Just before I start talking about it, don't forget, any time during the video, you can click on the button here to subscribe to the channel if you like what you're watching. The Hitcher, it stars C. Thomas Howell as Jim Halsey, who's driving a car from Chicago down to San Diego, and somewhere around Texas, he's getting a bit bored, he's a bit tired, it's the middle of the night, it's raining, starts to nod off a bit and nearly crashes into a lorry coming the other way. And shortly after that, he sees a hitchhiker on the side of the road, so he decides to stop. Even though he says, my mother told me never to do this, but I think maybe because he's falling asleep, he needs somebody to keep him awake and talk to, maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
But he soon regrets it. The Hitcher is in the form of Rutger Hauer, playing a character called John Ryder, who quite quickly is being a bit odd. He won't disclose where he wants to go or really anything about himself. And then as they see a car at the side of the road that's stopped, he suddenly pushes Jim's leg down into the accelerator as they speed past it, so Jim can't see what is going on with his car. But then anyway, shortly later, he then tells him that it's the last person that picked him up, who he killed, and he says, I cut off his legs and his arms and his head or something like that. But because the way he delivers it, you're not quite sure whether that is really the case or he's just having a laugh. And because at first even Jim thinks, is this for real? Is he just nuts? Or is he really a psychotic killer? But he keeps on and on with this, with the psychotic behaviour to the point where Jim pushes him out of the car and speeds away, thinking he's fine. And that's it. He's seeing the last of this nutter. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And
wouldn't be much of a film.
It wouldn't be, no, if that was it. It'd be a very short film. So he then pursues him and keeps popping up all over the place, making his life a misery and killing people on the way. So yeah, and Jim has run-ins with the cops who then think he's responsible for some of these killings. And he meets a waitress called Nash in a diner, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, who helps him out a little bit with his predicament. And that basically is the movie, is him continue trying to get away from and clear his name from Mr. John Ryder, the psychotic hitchhiker.
Yes, this is true. Well, I'd never seen this film, and I don't know. Well, you can't watch everything.
You can't, no.
And certain things escape you.
Yep.
But you suggested we do it, and I thought, okay, it looks good. You know, I've always liked Rutger Hauer and people like that. Really enjoyed it.
Good.
Really enjoyed it. I was. I have to say, I was kind of took me by surprise. I was kind of expecting a kind of maybe a third rate that kind of
B-movie thriller kind of thing.
Yeah, and obviously there's links in there to Jewel and films like that.
Yeah, it's quite similar sort of. It's a human equivalent of the car from The Car, or the lorry from Jewel, or something like Joyride more recently. And I think he's even a little bit similar to Nick Taylor in Wolf Creek, where his relentless pursuit of his victims. Yes,
no, you're right. And so that's kind of what I was expecting. But it was more than that, and it was different. It was different enough than those films to be quite original. And I think what I found with it was it's really quite unpredictable. I mean, it goes places you don't always expect it to go. He is terrifying, Rutger Hauer. I mean, he's always plays kind of villains in that subtle, psychotic way.
Yeah, quite quiet. He's not one of these crazy-eyed, nutty villains. That...
No. But he also, I mean, not crazy-eyed, but he is an actor who can kind of act with his eyes. You know exactly what he's thinking when when he first gets in the car. It's at night, and he's kind of in the shadows a little bit. And in fact, there's a scene. I won't give it away, but there is a scene later on. Which features the shadows, and then he kind of pops up, which was really eerie and done really well. And I think that's what I really liked about it, is kind of an ongoing dread throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
And you're never quite sure when he's not on screen. He's not on screen a lot.
No.
But when he's not there, you're constantly thinking,
where's he going to come
when's
from?
he going to pop up again, and what's he going to do?
And he's always got a little grin in the corner of his mouth and a little twinkle in his eye.
Yeah.
Which makes him even more psychotic.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought his performance was, Rutger Hauer's. He's always an interesting actor. Of course, we covered him before in Surviving the Game.
We did. Well, he's quite a similar kind of villain, where at first you trust him, and he's quite quiet and not completely crazy.
Yeah.
And even in Blade Runner, I think he plays Roy Batty in a kind of similar way. For a lot of it, he's quite calm and calculated with everything.
Is he Danish or Dutch? Dutch. He comes from Verhoeven, wasn't he? He was one of Verhoeven's early actors. So
Dutch.
I'm not suggesting that all Dutch people are like that, but yeah. But he does it really well. And I also liked that the supporting cast. We'll see Thomas Howell. He's not. I mean, I think he was Brat Pack. This is obviously an '80s film. I know he was in Soul Man, another one I never saw. He was always on kind of the edges of the Brat Pack because he never really turned up with those guys in their films.
No, he wasn't in like Some Kind of Wonderful or 16 Candles or anything like that, was he?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, he's cropping up in a few things these days. He's doing a lot of TV. He's in Outcast at the moment, and he was in Cop Show, which I really enjoyed a few years ago, called Southland, which was cruelly cancelled before its time.
And Jennifer Jason Leigh, of course, whose work I've always enjoyed.
Yep.
And she's got her voice is quite, she's got quite a distinct voice, I think.
Well, we talked about Existenz.
Oh, we did do Existenz, which she was in. But she's not in this. Well, she's got quite a decent role in this film, but she's fine. I don't know if it was her first.
She made Flesh and Blood first with
Rutger Hauer.
Yeah, with Rutger Hauer again. Yeah, so
Verhoeven, that was.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed this film. I think it definitely feels like an '80s film. I think it's got really nice cinematography in there. It's kind of got that colour and glow of those '80s movies. I think the director was a stills photographer before he became a filmmaker. There's a few kind of slow mo shots in there, and in fact at one point, to me while I was watching it, it reminded me. It felt like Near Dark. Which, of course, I wasn't that surprised when I found out the writer of this one, Eric Red, also wrote Near Dark.
Yep.
And more original than other things that were coming out at the time, I think, and quite dark, very dark.
Yeah, I mean, apparently the original script was a lot more gory and sadistic than what we see on screen.
Okay. Because I was reading the writer. So in the film, C. Thomas Howell is doing a drive away.
Drive away. He's basically a guy who, I don't know, presumably has moved house from Chicago to San Diego, and
he's delivering a car.
He's taking his car from Chicago to San Diego for him. Quite why people can't drive their own cars to where they're going, I don't know. It's being in the UK. There's nowhere that's far enough away to be worth doing that. You just take it yourself. But America obviously is a hell of a lot bigger, so.
But anyway, so the writer, Eric Red, was doing that, and he was driving down to Texas, and that's when he came up with this idea. I think he'd been listening to the Doors song "Riders on the Storm," and that's where this kind of the idea of this film came.
Yeah, which is basically about a killer who's on the road.
It is.
For anyone who hasn't heard that song.
And the killer in this, John Ryder, Riders on the Storm.
That's true, and Jim Morrison, Jim Halsey. Don't know, maybe it's getting a bit tenuous.
Maybe. You don't know.
Who knows?
Writers and filmmakers, they pick things out for their films.
And Jennifer Jason Leigh's called Nashville. I'm sure the Doors visited Nashville at some point.
Now you really are getting started. No, I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed it. I probably will watch it again. I may even pick it up because it's definitely some really great stuff in there. And I will never eat chips or French fries in the same way, again. No. But if you have no idea what I'm talking about and you'd like to, can you see it?
You can. Well, there was a DVD released quite a long time ago from Momentum. Couple of discs in there with some nice features. There's no Blu-ray anywhere that I can find.
Blu-ray.
No, not at all.
That's surprising.
And I think even this, I think a lot of countries didn't get a release quite as good as this. I mean, this has got the original short film by Robert Harmon that looks quite similar to The Hitcher, and I think it's one of the reasons he got the gig. It's got a short film by Rutger Hauer. It's got a documentary about the film and a commentary as well. So loads of stuff on there. It's a really good release.
That's still available?
Yeah, you can pick it up secondhand pretty cheap, yeah. Or you can get it for 18 quid new on Amazon if you really want to. But it's not hard to find secondhand. Sure. I mean, I think keep thinking Arrow are going to do it because they did do a book, I don't know, a year ago or something, I think it was, which, I don't know, maybe they were going to do it and then they couldn't get the rights. So instead of, all Arrow releases have booklets in them. So maybe it was going to be a booklet in the release.
So they did release a book about it.
Yeah, but... and maybe they never got the rights to the actual film, so they just released it as a book. I don't know, but it'll be nice. I mean, I'm sure I read somewhere the director has said, I think at the start of this year that there is a Blu-ray in the works, but what country that's in or who's doing it, no idea. But hopefully somebody somewhere has got it and will give it a good release. I mean, this is perfectly decent, but it is a DVD and a picture. It could do with sprucing up a bit.
I think it would look really nice on Blu-ray. Actually, it's got, like I said, it's got that really quite clean look. There's a nice look to it, and I think the cinematography. There's some really wonderful moments actually to look at as well in there.
And there was a remake in 2007. You can get that on Blu-ray. So
that's bizarre.
What an injustice that is. So I mean, there's probably people out there who've only seen the remake. But I would suggest if that's the case, then I would definitely seek out the original because they're not really that different. But I would say that as much as I love Sean Bean, he plays the Rutger Hauer character. Rutger plays it better, I'm afraid.
Well, there is only one Rutger Hauer.
There is, yes.
But then there's only one Sean Bean as well. So that was The Hitcher, and we hope you enjoyed this video. And if you've seen the film, let us know in the comments below.
Or if you've seen the original and the remake.
And compare.
Tell us which one you prefer. If you prefer the remake, well, that's fine. We won't judge.
Well, you might be younger than us and have only ever seen the remake.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So whatever. Leave us a comment.
Yep.
And subscribe to the channel. Do that.
And join us on Twitter and Facebook for more filmy chat.
Well, do that with Hick. He's on Twitter. I don't really use Twitter that much. Yeah, and also we've got some more videos coming up in a second, so check one of those out. And apart from that, we'll see you next time for another video.
Yeah.